Well, it's time now for some business news, and we're starting in Washington then, as a reminder, where French President Emmanuel Macron's state visit is happening in the context of trade tensions between the United States and the European Union. Our business editor, Charles Pellegrin, is here for more.
Hi, Erin. Absolutely. This tension is centered on U.S. efforts to prop up its economy in the face of global inflation as well as Chinese competition. Policies that have been a centerpiece of Joe Biden's economic and industrial policies so far, and that the U.S. president was keen on highlighting during a visit to Michigan on Tuesday. He was seen walking the floor of a microchip factory in Bay City, highlighting locally made semiconductors and the importance of ending over-reliance on Chinese and Asian supply chains, and a similar push for climate-friendly technologies to come back to the States has also happened under his watch. The CHIPS Act for semiconductors amounts to a $52 billion program, and the Inflation Reduction Act, which backs American-made products in climate tech, is a $369 billion program. This has prompted accusations of protectionism and an unfair competition from some in the EU, like French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire, who on Sunday said China favors its own products, America favors its own products. It might be time for Europe to favor its own products. Joe Biden sought to reassure his partners in Europe, saying U.S. policies aren't a threat, but an opportunity.
I had a long meeting with Xi Jinping at the G20. We have met for over 80 hours over the last 10 years. We know each other well. And he's a little upset that we're going to be the supply chain. The difference is going to be we're going to make that supply chain available to the rest of the world, but we're not going to be held hostage anymore.
And Joe Biden also under pressure for his decision to ask Congress to impose a settlement on a dispute between railroad companies and workers in order to avert a costly shutdown. Congressional leaders appeared to heed that call and committed on Tuesday to pass quick legislation that would impose a union agreement that hasn't been approved by 4 out of 12 unions. The House of Representatives is aiming to pass the legislation on Wednesday. It would then head to the Senate, where it will need bipartisan support. And further south in Mexico, the rush to corner the market for electric vehicles is on, with the world's largest EV maker, BYD, saying it will be launching its cars in the country next year. The Chinese group, backed by Berkshire Hathaway, is setting its sales target at up to 30,000 vehicles in 2024 and 10,000 in 2023. Mexico is still a budding market for EVs, with 4.5% of all sales this year so far being hybrid vehicles. And a look at the Asian stock markets now. They're all mostly trading higher. All eyes on COVID policy developments in China. As you can see, the Shanghai Composite just above 0%. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong over 1%, as well as the Kospi in Seoul. The Nikkei in Tokyo, though, down by 0.2%. And Chinese manufacturing contracted faster than expected in November, with a rise in COVID and the imposition of lockdowns weighing on output. The manufacturing PMI came in at 48, below the 50 threshold, which marks the difference between expansion and contraction, and below the analysts' forecast of 49. This is the third consecutive month that the index is below 50. And finally, French butchers are calling on the government to help them deal with rising energy bills amid fear they will have to close down their business because they can't make ends meet. A group of butchers protested outside Parliament this Tuesday, saying that on top of their electricity bills doubling or even tripling, business owners were having to deal with an increase in the price of materials as well. Karis Garland explains.
Butchers aren't cash cows. That's the message these meat sellers want to send to French lawmakers as they protest outside Parliament. Butchers say soaring energy bills and broader inflation are sending them into the red.
We're headed straight to bankruptcy. If nothing's done soon, it'll be the end for a lot of colleagues. Everything is more expensive. The price of meat, packaging, everything around us is increasing. We can't pass on the price of electricity bills to our customers.
Between their cold rooms, ovens and rotisseries, butchers use up a considerable amount of energy. Those protesting, backed by some MPs, are urging the government to take similar measures to Germany, Spain and Portugal, where the price of electricity is not linked to the market price of natural gas.
I have to renew my electricity contract. I was spending 17,000 euros a year. Now it's going to 52,000 a year.
The French government has put in place an energy price cap for households and some small businesses. To benefit, companies must meet certain conditions, including having fewer than 10 employees and making less than 2 million euros in profit per year. According to the head of a French butchers' federation, 40% of meat-selling businesses don't meet the criteria.
So, Erin, like many other small businesses in France, it's going to be a tough winter ahead.
Seems like no part of society is immune from inflation. Charles Pellegrin, thank you very much.